11 by Sault. It is 11 songs, 44 minutes long. We love Sault. We love as a band. They're very precise and meticulous, but, a little chaotic. They also released a zip drive with a password protected file with like a bunch of albums. I want to say more than three. And they, is password protected. They're like, look, here are all our albums. It was very, had some religious undertones or themes, like God is the way or God is the answer, had like a lot of the themes to it. I was like, okay, Sault, yay. I don't know what's going on here. But no, 11 is available on a lot of streaming services, at least for now, because we also reviewed 9 a couple years ago, maybe last year on Audioface. And that had some of my favorite indie tracks of the year. It was a really good blending of genres. It was just a love letter to music, truly. That's what Sault was and is. But the 9 project, I believe it was only up for 99 days. And after that, Thanos snap, whatever you want to call it, gone. End of story. I was really pleased with this record. I think that, I think we've had this trend the past couple of weeks where the first song maybe not be necessarily the strongest, but I think this is a pretty good first song still. It's just a very, gets you in there track. So I think it could be a little bit faster, but it has this nice bass line to it that just repeats. I just think that's kind of the thing that gets to me, that it's just a little bit too long. But I think the rest of the songs in there just like really hit. They're really catchy. Fear No One is a slower, like jazzy, bluesy kind of thing that's really fun. Morning Sun is really fun. It has that really nice bass line in it, and it reminds me of one of my favorite vibes, which is just being in an underground jazz club where it's not, too loud, but it's just smooth music playing, and you can groove to it, you can bounce to it. It's just a wonderful vibe behind you. Not enough places have this. I think this would be a better, if I opened a bar, I would have bands just play music like Sault's, like Morning Sun. Maybe Sault would be the band in residency with the money that I have. Join.syndicate23.co. I'm kidding. I'm going to make much more financially prudent decisions than that, at least in the near future. And anyways, so this is really, Sault makes me appreciate and makes me realize that Sean and I and, a couple of other good music reviewers are not simply screaming into the void. That we are talking about, when we say that you actually benefit from having better music, that you benefit from working more thoroughly on your tracks and blending genres and figuring out what mix of what to do nicely, that you get good results from it. And I'm personally very pleased that the execution is just so thorough. Now, it's Jack's Gift, where you get kind of a very airy ambient song, and you have a spoken word piece over that. I think it's really nice to break the album up, even though it's not the most, replay value worthy track, let's say. But near the end, you just get a really great set of tracks. Like Envious is really, it reminds me of Hiatus Coyote almost, and just a really good blending of neo-pop and funk and soul, and it is just pleasing. It's something I can listen to in a lot of different contexts, and it it just invokes pleasure and fun without necessarily being a quick or fast song. I think that's just one of Sault's real benefits and, best talents. River is one of the longest tracks. I think it is at 5 minutes 41. And unlike Glory, I think you get enough range and, variety in that track to where it really makes it worth it. It really makes it worth the time, I mean. And In the Air and Circle wrap up the album in a really nice way. It's very rarely you get an album that I've used this analogy even before Sean, but an album that lands the plane properly. And this one does it, where it has an idea, it has a concept, it stays within that concept. Not that it's restrained by that concept, but it just explores that concept so thoroughly that you feel like these songs belong in this album, these songs belong by this artist. And I've talked about this, earlier in this Audioface episode, I believe, with the Brockhampton review, and in many other contexts in this 250 plus episode podcast, that a good album is one that is like a story. There's shouldn't be many things like it. It should take you through a beginning and an end, and it should feel uniquely like something only that author can produce. And Sault checks all those boxes for me, and I really like it, and I really think they've had a consistent output for the times I've been paying attention to them. I've only been paying attention to them since 2021. And at least from what's on Spotify, they've been releasing since 2019. So good on them. Good on them. I am happy for that. I hope they continue to keep it up. Arbitrary Scale. We do Arbitrary Scales every week on Audioface because our review is our review. And this week, we are going to do... Twitter replacements. Because nothing can truly replace Twitter. And this is going to be... typical Sean curveball. I'm going to call this Twitter before, like Twitter in 2015 when Trump was still kind of a joke. That was funny Twitter. Like I was just looking at a tweet when when everyone was talking about would you kill baby, the German world leader from 1940s, and Jeb Bush was like, yes, and Ben Carson was like, no, or maybe I have them confused, but like it was just such a funny debate that Republicans and people on Twitter were actually having on all sides of the debate, outside of politics too. So that was fun. That was wild. Thankfully, unfortunately that's gone. That was good Twitter, but that's why I do Arbitrary Scales on Audioface, because I just spent time talking about the Sault album, and there would be it wouldn't do the review justice if I didn't tell you all about world history and Twitter. Anyways,